It's the last full day of campaigning today. The final day of voting is tomorrow. Democrats banking on high-profile races, governor's races in Virginia and New Jersey, and the New York City mayoral race catching a lot of attention. CNN chief data correspondent Harry Enton is here. There's a real mixed bag here as far as ideologies go, where you've got, moderate candidate in Virginia and you've got a Democratic socialist in New York City. I guess the question is, how can they both be seen as bellwethers?
I mean, the common denominator here is Donald Trump, and Democrats are on the precipice of delivering a huge blow to Donald Trump in his second term. What are we talking about here? Well, why don't we just look? Democrats lead all the key races. You go to New Jersey governor. That's really the only close one. Mikey Sherrill, the Democrat, up by 6 points. Abigail Spanberger in Virginia, up by 10. Zohran Mamdani, up by 16 points in New York City. The bottom line is this. Yes, there are ideological differences between the Democrats, but the key common component is they are all going after Donald Trump. And all the Democrats lead, from New Jersey to Virginia to New York City. They all lead the Republican and independent opponents.
How much is he impacting the cases? Never mind that they want to beat him in their minds. It's sort of like, hey, this is to show you that we can beat you. But how much is he affecting these?
I mean, look, Donald Trump is a huge drag in all of these races. Look at his net popularity ratings. In New Jersey, he's 11 points underwater. Virginia, 14 points underwater. Not much of a big surprise in New York. He's 35 points underwater. And I will note nationally in my aggregate polls, he's about 13 points underwater. In our CNN poll, he's way below that, which looks a lot like New Jersey, a lot like Virginia. So these races, in my mind, could be huge bellwethers going into next year to understanding how Donald Trump is impacting these races. He is a huge drag in across the board, New Jersey, Virginia, and New York City.
Do these races tell us anything about the midterm as to what happens here and what might happen in the midterm?
Yeah, okay. So, I was mentioning, of course, Donald Trump being a huge drag, right? He's at his second term lows, not just in our CNN poll, but across the different polls that we were looking at this weekend. And why is it that these races are so important? Well, go back through history, jump in that DeLorean. Look at what has happened when Democrats sweep New York City, New Jersey, and Virginia governor. They won the U.S. House the next year 5 out of 5 times in the last 90 years. You go all the way back to the FDR administration. So the bottom line is this. When Democrats do well in these off-year elections, when they sweep New Jersey, Virginia, and New York City, historically speaking, that means they go on to win the U.S. House of Representatives the next time around. And when we're in this national polarized environment and Donald Trump is as unpopular as he is, I think that history is likely to hold if, in fact, Democrats do sweep tomorrow, which at this point looks more likely than not.
We will have to see. We also have some new polling numbers also that makes Democrats not look so good. So it's kind of like wondering whether this historic norm will stay as per usual.
And that, my friend, is why we go 365 years to find out what happens next year.
All right. Thank you so much, Harry.
Thank you.
Okay.
All right, you're talking about Virginia there. Many eyes are on that battle between Democrat Abigail Spanberger and Republican Winsome Earl-Sears. President Obama hit the campaign trail this weekend to try and give Spanberger a boost in this very final stretch.
Abigail's opponent does seem to care a lot about what Trump and his cronies are doing. Virginia, you don't need a governor who puts party and ideology ahead of the people she was elected to serve. You deserve a governor who will think for herself and work for you. You deserve a governor like Abigail Spanberger.
Joining me right now is Larry Sabato, the director for the Center for Politics at the University of Virginia. It's great to see you. So we heard Harry Enton giving his very enthusiastic take, as he always does, Larry. What is the best possible outcome that you see for, let's just start, for the Democratic Party this week?
Well, I've had a little less coffee than Harry, so I would put it this way. Democrats are going to do well. They could have a sweep, at least of the top positions. That's very important. But the midterm elections are a year away. And in the Trump era, hundreds of things will happen in the next year that could affect how people evaluate him and how people evaluate the candidates running. But on the whole, Democrats desperately need this boost of enthusiasm and success.
Donald is being returned to the store. Millions of people are quitting the Republican Party and saying, God, I made a mistake buying the Donald Trump product back last November, and I want a refund now. People often forget about the quarter-term elections, right? Every 4 years, presidential elections get the most attention. And then there are the midterms, where the House is reelected and all of that. But every odd-numbered year, there are elections, and big states often have pretty important gubernatorial elections that set a bellwether. What we're seeing in these bellwethers is that the Democrats are winning. And not only are they winning in places where they might not be expected to win, but they're also winning in places where they would normally win by probably a little bit more than they should, indicating Donald's in trouble. This is in addition to the fact that, as we've seen, Democrats now have a turnout advantage. When elections have lower turnout, and midterm elections have lower turnout, and quarter-term elections have even lower turnout, that's usually bad news for the governing party, and specifically for whichever party happens to be the low turnout party at that time. But people are saying, I want a refund. I'm done with the Republican Party because I went to them not because I love the GOP, but because I wanted change. It's a two-party system. Two-party systems are bad, honestly, but it's still a two-party system. So people thought, I've got to go to the other guy. Trump promised lower prices at the grocery store, at the gas pump, and all of that. He promised that the government would take care of families by making life cheaper, but he failed on both fronts. Prices have gotten worse, and they've gotten worse because of his tariff policy. He also took the money that could have been used to lower health care premiums and save working-class people a few bucks here and there, and gave it all to the billionaire class. Then he turned around and said, not only am I not going to make your health care cheaper, a promise he made all the way back in 2015, I'm going to make your premiums go up by $3,000 to $4,000 a month in some cases. So the voters have said, Donald, you made two promises to me that really mattered.